hold teleconference meetings pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D David .021 due to the current federal and state emergency declarations and guidance about limiting person-to-person contact due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Action of the school board of the Pelican Rapids School District. All future meetings of the Pelican Rapids School Board will be conducted in accordance with Minnesota statutes 13D David .021. Meetings by telephone or other electronic means until further notice. One or more board members may participate by telephone or other electronic means in accordance with Minnesota statutes 13D David .021. Members of the public are not permitted to attend this meeting due to the current health pandemic. Persons may monitor this meeting from a remote location via Zoom. A link to this meeting will be posted on our district website. Public comment for school board meetings during opportunity for visitors to speak may be submitted as follows, and that'll be to Barb Ripley's email, and that's bripley@pelicanrapids.k12.mn.us. With that in mind, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:01. We have everybody in attendance, and Anna's zooming in. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. First item up will be to approve the meeting agenda. Do we have anything to add or take off the agenda? Hearing nothing. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda. Motion by Greg. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brittany. Any discussion on the meeting agenda? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and this will be roll call. Ann?
Aye.
Greg? Aye. Brittany?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Holly? And aye. Agenda carries. Opportunity for visitors to address the board. We do not have anybody on that end. Okay. Just want to take a minute to acknowledge our custodial staff this year. They've done a tremendous job keeping up on trying to clean up after ourselves and keeping the building sanitary. Staff have any comments?
Yeah, I just appreciate all the work, and the patience and following the protocols and helping us out there with the pandemic. So thank you to our custodial staff.
Okay. Item 6, administrative reports. First we have Mr. Nelson with the elementary and activities director.
Enrollment, we're at 423, but as soon as I said that, we got a couple more kids that came in like Thursday or Friday, so it just kind of keeps fluctuating. So we're around that 425 mark. 68 of those are distance learners at this point. We started the year with 90 some distance learners and down to 68, so we have more students that are back in the building. February 8th will be an elementary workshop day. And then February 22nd will be parent teachers conferences at the elementary, which we'll be doing a Zoom or phone call again in February. It doesn't look like we'll be able to be in person for those again at that time. So activities, last week came the guidance for attendance that I sent you guys. Attendance is limited to 150 people. And they're recommending is 2 participants or 2 spectators per participant. And as a conference, we really stress that those be the parents, grandparents, siblings of the players that are participating in the event. So on the east side, we will pull the bleachers partway out and we will set the chairs up kind of like the NBA or college basketball has, where they're 6 feet apart, and stagger them. And I know we've talked about for boys where someone's chair will be their chair, so they come off their water bottle towel Everything will be right there, their chair, so they won't be changing chairs. After the JV game, we'll get everything sprayed down quick with our sanitizer before the varsity game for both the home and away benches. Wrestling triangulars are a little more tricky. The home team is supposed to wrestle first and third. The home team is supposed to leave after their first event. And then we're supposed to clean that section of bleachers quick. So again, we'll spray those down quick to let the next section of fans come in. So there's going to be some extra cleaning that takes place and kind of moving people in and out. I think our fans could have the choice of either leaving, after the first match or going into the leader or legends gym. I think by that time we could pull bleachers and have them having a spot in there where they could go. Just with 3 teams coming in, it's hard to limit that to 150. So by moving people, you can. So again, it's going to be trial and error. Next Tuesday is our first wrestling meet. And like I told Mr. Hobo we met Friday, I'm sure the things that we have in place will be changed by the end of the year than what we think will work exactly. So as we see things can work better, we'll adjust and do our best to follow all the protocols that we need to follow and get fans moved in and out. So otherwise, kids will be playing. Masks are required, although last week they did come out with if you have a medical note from a doctor, you can be exempt from wearing masks. So far, we've received 1 of those. I've heard of some schools that they've had 6 or 7 already on a certain team that have got notes not to wear masks. So we'll see where that goes. So, any questions on any of the facility guidelines that were sent out? Saturday will be the first home event for any activity. With girls basketball game in the afternoon, so it'll be nice to have a Saturday after practice to kind of get the gym set up and see how it looks and signage set up and everything and see how everything goes. So.
The referee's been practicing with masks.
We hope so.
Okay.
We did talk to one last week. He said he was maybe gonna go on his treadmill with masks.
It is different, if you're running rather than just wearing them regular. So. I know there are a few reps that are not repping because of it this year. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez?
A little bit, so I'll pick me up. Yeah, so overall, pretty good standard month for the district. We started our investment accounts with $2.9 million. We received about $1.2 million in aid, both federal and state, totaling our investment account to $4.1 million. We are preparing for the big bond payment that's coming up here at the end of January. So that is why you see that we have a lot of cash on hand. With our big debt payment coming up, that's going to go down significantly. This is normally the month where districts struggle a little bit when they are in financial downturn. 3 years ago, this is where the month where we had about $9,000 cash on hand, and to grow and have $4 million feels pretty darn good. So our lowest point of cash on hand is going to be this upcoming month, and we're projected to have $1.6 million. And again, that's still pretty darn good. So great job to everyone for that. In terms of everything else, again, pretty standard. It was rather a short month just because we had a board meeting a couple weeks ago. And now with the new sitting of everyone and introducing board members, we have to have this meeting. But overall, pretty good month. In terms of deposits, just regular deposits, I was going to our bank account, it was pretty standard at $100,000 hitting different funds. Accounts payable totaled about $471,000. Payroll was 334. Adjustments is what I have to do in journal entries to make our books balance at the end of the month, and I'll go through those transactions. Cash on hand for our checking account at the end of the month was $122,000. Again, pretty good month. And I always talk about that the general fund account that you see here, this one always runs in deficit because the state is always paying us catch up, almost in a reimbursement. So you always see that particular account be in deficit until the end of the month when we true up all the numbers and we finalize all the state aid. Then you'll see that number go back to either zero or positive. So don't be too worried. Our petty cash account, you've seen rather large numbers on there for what we have. But primarily what we have in here is the refinancing of the two bonds that we did. We did two refinance of the bonds. The first one was the 2014 bond, which was close to $16 million. That was a big building bond. That one is now sitting in an escrow account with Wells Fargo, like a mortgage is. In 2 years from now, those $60 million that we received from Wells Fargo, who was actually the one who purchased our debt, they're going to pay out the old bond, and then we're going to start making payments to the new bond, paying payments to the new mortgage, and essentially that's what's going to give our taxpayers significant tax breaks. So we are the only government entity in our area that is actually lowering the taxpayer impact, which is really good for a lot of our constituents. And again, we're projected to save $1.8 million over 10 years on the refinancing that we did. The second bond was an alternative facilities bond that had about an outstanding balance of $2 million. We refinanced that one. That one, the terminology was a little bit different, where they sent us the money. In 2 weeks, I'm going to send the money to pay off the old debt, and then we're going to start paying the new debt. So that is what this $2 million you see here on this account is because I received the money, but it's going to go out next week. And in your next board report, you're going to see that account go down to about $2,000 again. And the reason why I did it is so I could separate the dollars and show you guys what that impact is of the money coming in and the money going out. But right now, we have $2.2 million sitting in one of our bank accounts. The last account is our student activity account. GASB 84 came in last year, and now we have to show you guys all the fundraisers coming in, everything that we use for our student activity accounts. We started that account with $173,000, and we ended at $176,000. So overall, again, pretty straightforward month, pretty normal, and now we're preparing to make big bond payments. We have substantial collateral on hand from our banking institution that covers both all of our monies in their bank account, so we're sitting good there. Then we have all these journal entries that I talked about. This month and next month, I filled our accounting system with substantial journal entries. And why that is because we have 3 federal grants going on that I have to finalize. We have the community feeding grant, which gave our district $85,000 to feed adults who had food shortages in our district, and that's where we did those community feeding nights. In addition to, we extended it to our teachers and our staff. Anybody that really needed to eat a lunch, they could eat a hot lunch for free. So all these journal entries that you see here is me fulfilling that piece of the grant, showing that fiscal responsibility. The other grant that we have was the coronavirus relief fund that also came due. So a lot of those journal entries that you see, the money we allocated it 40% elementary, 40% high school, 20% district, and it really went to all the COVID resources that we needed, from additional staffing because of shortage of paras, shortage of substitutes, to all the PPE equipment, to the new thermal cameras that we purchased. Everything that you see came from those federal funds, of those federal grants. So I'm closing them up, and you're going to see literally our financials filled with them because I have to categorize everything according to those particular notes in each grant. And that's what they are here. Then, so you can see they're quite large. Then the last piece is the payables. And again, this is everything that comes out of the district, everything that we pay, utilities, payroll, benefits to employees, everything gets coded here. If you guys have any question on any of the payables, please let me know. But then again, they are significant, so I'm not going to go through everything. But I will show the difference that NMB is the bank for our general fund checking account. NWSA is for our student account, so you can see what we paid for our student activity account. And PC is for petty cash. That's where we have right now the monies from the refinancing that we did of all of our bonds. So that is how you'll distinguish that in all the payables. One thing that we'll cover today in our agenda in the business item is to renew the resolution to approve administration to make recommendations for reduction of programs or positions. That is something that we renew every year. Doesn't mean that we're going to reduce anything in our district coming up for the next year. In fact, we're very confident that we're going to start to either grow programs or invest in our school. This is just something that gives Mr. Korf the authority that in any event we need to make any reductions or any shifts in programs and staffing, he has that responsibility. Again, it's not to alarm anyone. This is simply a due diligence that we do every year. Okay, any questions?
Rudy, the student activity fund balance of like 175,000 or so.
Yep.
Is that higher than like, I mean, I haven't maybe paid as much attention to that part in prior meetings, but is that, I mean, do you know offhand, like compared to last year or 2 years at this time, what that balance was? Does that stay pretty steady at that amount?
Yep, it stays pretty steady at that amount. And comparing from last year to this year, last year we didn't disclose it because the new Article 84 didn't come into place. So this is rather new information since July. So this is why you're seeing that more. In the past, we used to have two separate entities for student activity accounts. We had the ones that were under board control. So when sports had a fundraiser, it would come to one set of accounting books. And then when we had student organizations that had a teacher or a school member as a program director, it would go to a separate set of books. So you guys only saw about half of it, not the other half. But Article 84 came together and said, no, all student activity accounts, whether they're sports or whether they're co-curricular, the board has to see them. So this is why you're seeing this inflated number from any other year. But very good question. In terms of why Article 84 came into play was because there were substantial districts that were inflating their financials because of this. So a lot of the times when we present to the public to say, hey, look, we have a general fund of this percent, that took student activities into account. So the one that comes to mind is Waiseta, who have super boosters. And they had a substantial fund balance, but it was all inflated because they had very wealthy boosters that would give donations, and then their general fund would be completely inflated. So this is what Article 84 came and said, whoa, no. General fund is for school operations. Student activity fund is for the purpose of student activities only. So that's what that came in. This is why we have to separate it. And you guys now have a visual to say, oh, okay, our student activity accounts are doing very well. Because in the past, people would see that, and sometimes unions would say, oh, the school is pretty well flushed with money. But it wasn't the case because the money actually doesn't belong to us, it belongs to student activity accounts.
So what activities are covered under that fund? That would be, I mean.
Yep.
Like SAB,
Yes.
for example, one?
Yep, that's one.
Girls basketball?
That's one.
Okay. So it seems high. I mean, should we be spending some of that money?
Yes, we are spending it, but we're spending it in the right locations. So the money does flow with public purpose. So we have to be mandated by Minnesota statute that says that all monies that goes under board control have to follow where it has to follow the public purpose law, which means that it has to be for the sole purpose of the investment of that program, the school, or the community at large. You can't spend money that comes in here for a particular individual to pay salaries, and it has a couple more restrictions. But essentially, as the money comes in, when coaches or advisors see that that certain activity needs something, whether it's supplies or whether it's a team gear or whatever it is, they use that. So it is spent. A lot of our student activities use this money so they could have that additional cash flow to get equipment or utilities or equipment that the district can provide. One of the things that I can think of is, for example, football. When football has to travel rather far and they don't want to take a big yellow bus, they get a nice coach bus, but they pay the difference. So that is that added utility that this funds provide. But yeah, any organization that you can think of, it's under these folks and they do fundraising. So when students come and knock on your door and say, hey, can you buy pies so I can go on a 6th grade trip? This is where that money goes.
But the public purpose threshold, I mean, as long as that can be pretty easy to meet.
Oh,
so long
absolutely.
as it's connected with supporting one
Correct.
of the programs covered. But yeah, I mean, so from the administration's perspective, do most activities have what they need? I'm assuming you guys take a look at that pretty regularly in terms of.
Yeah, they'll fundraise for what they want to get. You also have to remember too, this includes band and choir, Spanish, the trips that they take, so kids are saving money over the years.
So that money's included in that fund balance?
Yes.
Okay,
And like last year, there's no New York trip.
so that money is fundraiser money.
Yep.
I got you. Okay, that helps me understand.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And really, there's been very few fundraisers this year. Just because the coaches haven't wanted the kids to go out selling this year.
Sure.
It's been down, so.
Probably isn't as much money going out this year either.
Great, yeah.
Perfect. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Core, Superintendent Principal Report.
Okay, high school, we're at 411 students at this time. We've had a few students move out of the community. January 5th staff workday was appreciated, so thank you for supporting our staff district-wide to provide them a day to prepare for the finish of Q2, semester 1, and prepare for the next few weeks. Parent-teacher conference on February 22nd, like Mr. Nelson talked about, we're looking at doing Zoom or a phone conference. We'll see how our numbers are, but that's what we're leaning towards at this time. Curriculum cycle over the years, we went through cuts, so one of the items that we cut a few years back was the curriculum cycle. So what we want to do is we're taking a look at that to see if we can fit that back into our budget and restart that. So, and then we go through different departments, and each year they would have a chance to buy new textbooks, things like that. So we're going to take a look at that. Professional development, we have January 18th workshop, teacher workshop. We'll have PLCs, and then we do a lot of planning meetings too with our departments and plan for next year. And we usually have about a 30 to 45-minute meeting with each department on that day. Few upcoming events. Like I said, end of Q2 is this Friday, semester 1. Teacher workshops next Monday. February 12th will be mid-Q3, and then parent-teacher conference will be February 22nd. And before you know it, it'll be the end of Q3 on March 19th. Few superintendent items. I do want to add one item is our 2 community meals. Mr. Martinez discussed a little bit earlier here in his report. And we had our high school kitchen staff and some staff volunteers and student volunteers that helped serve meals to our community, and they could pick them up to the drive-through. I want to say the first night was over like 650 to 700 meals, and then the next night was like 800. So thank you to everyone that volunteered to do that. And it was a lot of work, a lot of time. Our kitchen staff was here early in the morning, and they were here till late evening. So a lot of standing on their feet. So they were pretty tired, but they felt it was good, and they'd like to do that here in the future. So something I'd like to do once or twice a year. Learning Mile, just a reminder that January 12th, tomorrow, Viking Elementary will be back in person, high school will be hybrid for grade 7 through 12. And then just a reminder, MSBA training is January 14th, 21st, and 28th, and it's just mornings of those 3 dates. And if you go on the MSBA website, or if you receive an email, it lists all what they're offering, things like that. Any questions?
Is anybody else going to that? You are?
Yep.
Anybody else?
I'm registered.
I just thought maybe we could talk about the roundtable so we don't all go to the same one. So we could bring more back to the board.
Sure.
Did you find out?
I haven't looked at them yet.
I did not find out. I don't think it is.
It didn't sound like it.
That it was.
From what I read, I didn't see that it was coming to.
So there'll be 4 of us, right? So we're, Ann's going? Good. We're good?
I'll tell you which one I'm moderating for the roundtables. I guess I got tips for superintendent search. It's still fresh, right? Okay. Well, should we move on? Consent items. Item A, approve board meeting minutes, December 21st, 2020, regular meeting. B, financial claims and December bills. C, treasurer's report. D, accept donations to the music scholarship John and Bonnie McGregor, $50. The Viking Elementary Special Ed from the Wilm family, $2,000, received 12/21 of 2020. The scholarship in memory of Marlene Evenson, anonymous, $20. And personnel, approve the superintendent contract with Brian Court for July 2021, June 30th, 2024, and the addendum to the superintendent contract between ISD 548 and Brian Court. So entertain a motion for the consent items.
I make a motion to approve the consent items as read.
Motion by Brenda, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brenda. And discussion for the personnel item with the superintendent contract. We worked on an addendum to the contract to account for Brian's responsibilities as principal, and that's been added to the contract. So that's what the change was in the delay. Any questions or any other discussion? Ann?
Nope, I'm good.
Anybody else? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor of approving the consent items as listed signify by saying aye, and this will be roll call again. Ann?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Brittany?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Molly? Aye. Consent items carried. Business items. Item A, approve the resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons thereof. And I think every year I've been on the board, we've passed this. So whether or not we've made any cuts those years or not. This is a resolution. Is it on the website? So I could read it first and then we'll do a motion second? Or would you rather, should we do a motion second first?
I think we can read it first.
Okay. So it's a resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons thereof, or therefore. Whereas in the financial condition of the school district dictates that the school board must reduce expenditures immediately, and whereas if there has been a reduction in student enrollment, and whereas if the reduction in expenditures and decrease in student enrollment must include discontinuance of programs and discontinuance or curtailment of programs, and whereas if a determination must be made as to which teachers' contracts must be terminated and not renewed, and which teachers may be placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits and affecting discontinuance of positions. Be resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 548 as follows. The school board hereby directs the superintendent of schools and administration to consider the discontinuance of programs or positions to effectuate economies in the school district and reduce expenditures, and as a result of reduction in enrollment, make recommendations to the school board for the discontinuance of programs, curtailment of programs, discontinuance of positions, or curtailment of positions. So I'll entertain a motion for the resolution.
So moved.
Motion by Greg,
Second.
second by Ann. So this is our resolution. Ann, how do you resolve?
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yes.
Brenda,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
and yes. Resolution carries. Okay, last part, upcoming meetings. MSBA Virtual Leadership Conference, as mentioned, is coming up the next 3 Thursdays. We have a work session February 1st, 2021 at 6 p.m. We have a regular meeting February 8th at 6 p.m. and that's a change because of the holiday. Correct, Barb?
Mhm.
And then a work session March 1st, 2021 at 6 p.m. and a regular meeting March 15th at 6 p.m. Any discussion on those? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a
I'll make a
motion.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Brenda, a motion by Brenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brittany. Any discussion on adjourning? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of adjourning, saying aye, and we'll do a roll call again. Ann?
Aye.
Aye.
Brittany?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Molly? Aye. We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.